everyone. I'll start in just a moment. Right. So, last week, one of our clients asked me why their organic traffic was down and their rankings hadn't changed. Their ads were still running and nothing looked broken. Then I showed them this, basically, and I'm going to share my screen now. Right. Yeah, it's the wrong way around. There we go. So I showed them this, and then I showed them this, and basically what we have here is a demo of what it looks like to be searching for products in ChatGPT. And this is basically the way things are headed. Now, if you look here, I've searched for best skincare brand for sensitive skin, UK, under £40. Now, this is typically the kind of search that would have been done in Google. But these are, you can see what's in here. We've got specific brands. We've got like a full kind of walkthrough of kind of why it works, what the best products are, specific prices. There's no rankings, just a straight answer. And their brand wasn't in here. And I'm not going to mention who they are, but essentially their customers weren't leaving Google. Their customers had just stopped using Google altogether. They were so either they're going to places like ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or even kind of Anthropic's Claude or places like that, and essentially doing their product searches there. Now, this is where your customers are now really starting their shopping journey, and more a greater percentage of customers are moving into this kind of way of working, in that they or way of discovering products, in that they do their product discovery in the LLMs and then find their products through that process. So they do all the upfront discovery here. Now, a recent survey showed that 41% of consumers are using AI platforms for product discovery already, and a third of them have completely stopped using traditional search. I know I myself, it's so rare that I actually do a typical Google search, and usually that's probably only if I'm looking for a place. So then I'm going through some maps anyway. Here's the link essentially to the research from payments. So this was their January 26 found that 41% of consumers were already using dedicated AI platforms for their product discovery. Now, the uncomfortable part here is that essentially Adobe has analyzed over 1 trillion retail visits in this report. I really like this report, but yeah, it's a in-depth survey of D2C commerce, and yeah, AI referred traffic grew 693% year over year. And those visitors, they convert 31% higher than non-AI traffic and spend 45% longer on site. So it's far more valuable traffic that's coming through from these LLMs. So but most D2C brands are invisible in these results. They don't appear when ChatGPT recommends products. They don't show up when Google AI in the Google AI overviews when those appear. They're losing clicks, and they don't even know those clicks existed because they never had those users come through to their sites in the first place. So Today, I'm going to give you the GEO playbook to fix this, and that's GEO, so generative engine optimization. And if you want to maintain or grow your organic traffic, it's the single most important thing that you can do for your website in Q2 2026. So looking at Perplexity, so the same query here, best skincare brand for sensitive skin under £40. Essentially, you're getting the same kind of result. You're getting cited sources you can see in here, and actually, if you scroll all the way down, you can see all the sources that Perplexity cited. And yeah, you can see that if you're not appearing in this list, then the customer's not going to get through to your site. So yeah, any one of these kind of references, these citations is a chance for a customer to click through to your site. And also it's getting your names in here. So we can see like we've got Boots, Superdrug, Amazon, like they're actually being referenced in here. And that's the aim really with GEO, is to get yourselves referenced in these LLM answers. So it's very similar to kind of SEO and how Google kind of works, but now you're doing it for the LLMs. And the process for getting in there, it's kind of an extension of SEO. So SEO is still valuable because then you get ranked in the search engines, which the LLMs do use. But you also need to be, when it's you they're talking about, they need to know who you are, why your product's the best, all those sorts of things. And we're going to get into why and how we do that. So yeah, so being in these citations is the difference between being recommended and being invisible. Every citation is a potential customer. So today we're covering kind of where your traffic is going and why Google isn't really the whole picture anymore. The 5 technical reasons most DTC sites are invisible to AI. The GEO playbook, so access, structure, and citability in priority order, and live demos of every tool you need. So before we get started, if you find this useful, we write up similar breakdowns every week in the AI commerce briefing, which is our newsletter. It's 1 email per week. The AI commerce shifts, or it covers the AI commerce shifts of UK DTC brands and what they need to act on with the stats to back it up. So that link I'm just going to drop into the chat, which is there. Here we go. Cool. So yeah, so most DTC brands are optimizing for a search landscape that no longer exists or is reducing. So essentially, it's become a very fragmented search landscape. So whereas before we were optimizing for just Google, we're now having to look at multiple platforms. So 12 months ago, you had one search engine to worry about, and now you have what is essentially 5. They're not search engines, but essentially it's where users do their search. So you may as well call them a search engine. Yeah, it's an LLM. But yeah, so I digress. ChatGPT, it's over. Yeah, so we got 5.35 billion monthly visits. Google Gemini 750 million, Perplexity 170 million. Now, obviously, it depends on the kind of product you sell, where your customers will be searching. Most likely, they will be using all 3, as it is a preference thing. Yeah, and even like Microsoft Copilot, which is not listed here. So they're integrated into every Windows machine and Edge browser. And yeah, the Google Gemini share is growing 12% per quarter. So actually, whilst it looks like ChatGPT is winning, Google Gemini is catching up quickly. So yeah, there's a big swathe of platforms now that you need to look at. So yeah, in terms of market share, so ChatGPT had that 60.4% market share of AI search traffic. Gemini is at 15.2 and growing 12% on every quarter. So ChatGPT is still growing, but essentially Google Gemini is catching up rapidly. So, and then yeah, Copilot sits at 12.9%. And yeah, between them, ChatGPT and Gemini, they're controlling 86% of the market. So yeah, it's not a trend, it's an established channel, and most DTC brands have done little to zero work to appear in any of them. But yeah, we've gone from optimizing for 1 search engine to optimizing for 6. So AI overviews are eating your clicks, and this is a stat that should worry every head of digital in the room. Essentially, when a Google AI overview appears, click-through rates drop from 15 to 8%. and that's across multiple studies. So, a February 2026 study found that AI overviews reduce clicks by 58% for the top ranking result. That was from Medianama. I'm not sure if I've got that one here, but yeah, another source. And 14% of shopping queries now trigger AI overviews for the best products name queries. So that number jumps to 83%, essentially. Now, 6% of all Google searches now end with 0 clicks. So yeah, essentially what this means is essentially those AI overviews, they're what that means is basically for your paid and organic strategy. So the queries where customers compare products like best moisturizer for dry skin UK or top running shoes under £100, those are the exact queries that AI overviews are answering. Your listing is still there, but very few people scroll past the AI answer to find it. So essentially, they're finding their answer within that AI overview. Cool. So, so there's some brands that are pulling ahead and actually are leading the curve on this. These are John Lewis, Gymshark, Tesco, and a few other names. So John Lewis put their entire product catalog into ChatGPT and Gemini as part of an £800 million transformation. Gymshark, they signed up for Google AI mode. Customers will be able to buy Gymshark products inside Google search. And Tesco signed a 3-year deal with Mistral AI, European AI, to co-create a joint AI lab. This is the first UK retailer to do this. And then Kingfisher, which is kind of B&Q and a bunch of other brands, partnered with Google Cloud to deploy conversational AI search across their UK and European operations. These brands aren't doing this because it's fashionable. They're doing it because it's the data that proves it works. So research shows that brands cited inside AI answers see a 38% lift in clicks compared to non-cited competitors. So yeah, quick question for anyone in the chat. So have you checked what ChatGPT or Perplexity says when someone searches for your products? So yeah, just drop a yes or a no in the chat, and then we'll see kind of how many of you have done it. And yeah, let us know your findings if you did. Like, how well did you appear? Cool. So this isn't hypothetical. This is the conversion data is essentially is there. Is a study of 94% of e-commerce stores across 2025 showed that ChatGPT traffic converts at 1.81% versus 1.39 for non-branded organic search, which is 31% higher. So revenue per session from ChatGPT is $3.65 versus $3.30 for organic. There's essentially 10% more value per visit. So if you think about whatever your value is in pounds as well, like 10% more essentially, which may not seem much at these kind of levels, but when you're thinking about how much you sell a year in millions, then yeah, it can add up. So ChatGPT traffic to those stores has grown 1,000% in that period, January to December 2025, and is continuing to grow. As we saw on our own site, at Fernie, AI referrals now account for over 15% of our total traffic. And I can't say that we've done a huge amount on this, but we are expanding on it. And yeah, the ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity are citing a couple of articles in particular and driving more traffic than all of our LinkedIn brand building from the founding team. So those visitors spend 44 to 92 seconds reading, which is quite a high dwell time. These are engaged, high intent sessions. Adobe's trillion visit dataset confirms that broader pattern. The AI referred visitors browse 13% more pages and spend 45% longer on site, and they bounce 33% less than non-AI traffic. So so the search landscape has fragmented. AI overviews are eating those clicks, and the brands that have adapted are winning, and the traffic is genuinely worth more. Links to everything I'm sharing going to be in the chat. I'll just put this one here. So this is the AI commerce briefing if you missed it. So this is if you want this kind of breakdown landing on your inbox every week. We do frequent webinars and articles on these topics and similar topics that these brands should be thinking about. But now I want to get into the technical reasons that most D2C brands are invisible to AI, because there are 5 specific things that determine whether or not you appear in those results. Cool. And that was the stats there. So robots.txt. So is your robot text blocking AI? So most brands haven't touched their robots.txt since their agency set it up years ago. And the problem is that new AI crawlers have emerged that didn't exist when that file was written. So you've got GPT bot from OpenAI or ChatGPT, which needs explicit access in robots.txt. You've got Google Extended, which is Gemini and AI overviews, so it's separate from Googlebot and can be blocked independently. You've got Perplexity bot, which is Perplexity's crawler, which is blocked by many sites by default. You've got Claude bot, which is a newer crawler, which is rarely considered, and CC bot, which is the one that feeds many AI training data sets. Now, if any of these can't crawl your pages, like GPT bot, ChatGPT literally can't recommend your products. It doesn't matter how good your content is. You need to give them access in order to allow them to index your content. So, yeah, remember to check this one file, because this is probably more important than a kind of £100,000 redesign. So, yeah, it can have a big impact on kind of discoverability and visibility. So yeah, your structured data is the next thing. So so what does Google see, or the other LLM see on your product page? So this is where structured data comes in. It doesn't look as nicely formatted as this when you actually do it. It's JSON data, but yeah, this kind of gives you the idea. So when a customer asks ChatGPT, what's the best coffee machine under £200 UK, the AI needs to understand your product data. So name, price, availability, reviews, specifications, and a bunch of other things. So without a product schema markup, AI sees unstructured text and a jumble of words on a page. With a complete schema, AI can see structured attributes, exactly what the product costs and whether it's in stock and what customers rated it. There is also FAQ schema, which is particularly powerful. So AI can then cite FAQ answers about a product directly in recommendations. So to give an example, so this is one of our clients, Boring. So we built this site for them, and yeah, particularly proud of these sites that we've done for them. So we're going to walk through kind of how to check your pages using them as an example. So essentially, you head on over to the rich results test, and yeah, you put your URL into this test, and I'll also just drop that link into the chat as well. And yeah, you put this your URL of your page, your product page, into this field here, and click test URL, and you get through to a nice page with the test results, and you can click into the schemas and actually see, like here, for example, we've got everything listed. So we've got kind of the type of the listing, the name, the URL, the images, the address, the geographical coordinates, the price ranges, opening hours. This is so important, regardless of whether this is a product page, a service page. This is a local business page. So there's very specific schemas for every type. You've got the organization listing. You've got the FAQ schemas as well. So all of those have to be added to your site in the correct places in order to get that content indexed by the LLMs. Now, only about half of the D2C sites I audit have product schema, and many of them are incomplete. Fewer than 20% have FAQ schemas, and almost none have review schemas that AI weighs heavily when making recommendations. And also formatting helps. So on the pages, like when you're building out your pages, so there was a Princeton Geo research paper that demonstrated that statistics and quotations in content increase AI visibility as well. So there's 28 to 40%. So yeah, make sure you've got great content on the page as well, so that can be seen. Now, moving on to a content in kind of a broader sense. So your content needs to be citable. So think about your top product page, and yeah, if someone asks ChatGPT, why should I buy your product, what what would your page would your page have that specific quotable answer in short terms like this, like, or would it just say shop our collection and kind of, hope for the best? Like, there's specific quality that makes content citable by AI. It answers questions with concrete, attributable statements. So rather than, it's easy to kind of show it, but rather than this kind of vague, our coffee machines are the best on the market, experience premium coffee at home with our award-winning range, shop our collection and discover thousands of customers that love us, perfect for any kitchen. Like, there's no, if you look at this kind of optimized version, we don't have the kind of the why it's the best, what features it has, who gave them the awards. Like, we have this independent testing by the UK Coffee Council. We've got the price, we've got the rating, we've got across how many reviews it is as well. So yeah, it's a really, it's specific, factual, verifiable, contains numbers, name sources, comparison data. This content will be cited in AI recommendations. So yeah, there's a big difference between these two, and you need to think this applies to pretty much every single aspect of the page. So the headings, the descriptions, the specifications, the reviews, like making sure you've got clear reviews in there as well. The kind of the section markers, so the headings further down the page, any descriptive sections, any alt text, kind of these kind of things. That's where they're going to start picking these up. Because if you look at, like, that Perplexity one, so Perplexity, for example, they're grabbing not only the text, but they're also grabbing things like the links to the sources. They've got the images, like, it's all in there, even places as well. But yeah, essentially everything needs to be tagged and written in such a way that it can be indexed by those LLMs. Now, the Invive AI Geo research found that 79% of AI bots favor content that's published within the last 2 years. So freshness matters as well. And if your product descriptions haven't been updated since launch, then AI deprioritizes them. So content that gets cited kind of follows that pattern. It's specific numbers, not vague claims. It's named sources, not experts say. It's comparison data, so X% better than Y, so not superlatives, and then structured answers to common questions. And even better if you can have those answers as kind of the question is the title, and then you've got the answer. And it's updated regularly. So headings kind of, it's updated regularly. So it signals authority and freshness as well. So as you've seen, most brands have never checked whether AI can read their product data. If you're watching this thinking, I have no idea what ChatGPT says about us or whether our content is written in the right way, that's what our geo website audits are for. And this is a new audit that we've created that essentially is on this very topic. So it takes in all these rules and does a thorough audit of your page content for citability. So this is different to a typical SEO audit. It's different to kind of page speed audits and that sort of thing you may have seen before. This is specifically on how well written is your content for an AI to cite it. So in here, we've got kind of, how easy it is for the AI to extract the content, what their trust and authority score is, what their semantic and technical score is, and what their sentiment and tone is. And each one of these is broken down. So we can kind of see the page. We get like a quick summary and some quick wins, so you can kind of see what kind of things you can do quickly. And then we delve into each section. So extractability, for instance, what we're looking at is kind of how well are the headings written, the kind of the density of the text, what's most citable, what's least citable. We do a before and after comparison. So what the text was before and what our recommended kind of text is, and then you can just literally copy and paste this if it's correct. And then it tells you kind of what good looks like and why it matters, and the quick wins and kind of high priorities and that sort of thing. Then we're going to trust and authority. So this is making sure we're adding all those statistics and quotations and such. The points of view markers, making sure you've got your entity presence in terms of Wikipedia articles, making sure that all that content is fresh, We do thorough assessment on kind of the reviews and ratings, and kind of are they showing up in there. Then we look in the semantic and technical side of things. So this is where do we have all of those technical pieces in place that enable the AIs to read the site easily. And yeah, that we go into detail kind of if there's anything that could be optimized, that's in there as well. It tells you if anything's missing, and gives you an example of kind of what good looks like, along with some recommended actions on that. And then finally, we've got the sentiment and tone. So this is this is important because AI doesn't like marketing fluff. So yeah, these kind of shop on you travel bag, the must-have accessory for your next getaway. We see this kind of thing all over the internet. The AI likes to quote things like this, where we've got very specific why it's great. Yeah, and yeah, gives the answer to the relevant question that's coming up in those AI articles. So there is going to be a little bit of a balance here between kind of what you want in terms of the user who's landing on the page and getting them to check out, and what you show to the LLMs. And yeah, putting your URL into this will give you kind of the full assessment and the quick wins and everything you need. All you need to do is head over to this form, which I'll drop into the chat, which is here. And yeah, drop in your domain name and we'll send you a PDF report for your pages. It usually takes about 24 to 48 hours to produce, but it is very thorough in terms of what it assesses. And then we'll send those across, and yeah, you can see how well your pages rank essentially, and then you can kind of begin to get a feel for kind of what great content looks like from an LLM's perspective. Cool. Right. So the next thing is the LLMs.txt. So this is a sitemap for AI. Most sites, again, don't have this yet. It's a very new thing. So essentially, this tells the LLM specifically, using kind of a markdown style, what your site is about, where to find the different things that are on your website. So what's the most important stuff that when the LLM looks at your site, it needs to be aware of. So this is where you can kind of add those pieces in. So you can see we've got the various products, we've got what it is, we've got the pricing, we've got all about the company, we've got the guides and the docs and where it can extract information from. So so without LLM's text, the site is going to be unable to the LLM is going to be unable to index your site. And with the LLMs.txt, like it's clear where everything is. So that they will be able to index your site without, but it'll be much more difficult for them to prioritize what's important. So that's kind of the purpose of that file. So as an example, so Shopify, they have theirs. So they've got their kind of company information. They've got their key statistics and their pricing and structure and everything like that. They've got their LLM text in place. And yeah, it just gives you an example of kind of what it is. It's not going to take long to create these files, but it's really important to give the LLM an assessment of or an overview of what your site's about. So this is kind of the newest piece of the puzzle. It's an emerging standard. So think of it as kind of a sitemap that's designed specifically for AI. And yeah, it tells tells the AI systems what your site contains, how it's organized, what's important. Shopify already publishes one. Their merchants benefit automatically through the Shopify global catalog. But most DTC brands don't have one, meaning that AI has to guess what your site's about. So creating one is straightforward. It's just a text file that you put in your domain root that maps out your key pages and products and content. It's not a silver bullet by any means, but it's a signal. And right now, any signal that helps AI understand what your site is an advantage, because your competitors aren't sending them. And soon they will be. So yeah, get this in place as soon as possible. And then entity knowledge. So this is how well your brand entity is established in the AI knowledge bases. So this is kind of a combination of some of those things put together. But it's whether or not you appear as a strong entity or a weak entity. So AI recommends brands that it recognizes as entities, and stronger entities are better. So that means what it knows about your brand. So what you are, so i.e. a D2C skincare brands, not a blog about skincare. What you sell, so have you got specific product categories, not just products? And yeah, who says you're good? So things like customer reviews, press mentions, awards, citations from authoritative sources. Like one of the things we've done at Fernie is invest quite heavily now in our PR content. So we're regularly getting mentions in press releases and across a number of the media outlets for a lot of the things we've been talking about in terms of AI and GEO and websites and such, conversational commerce. And what this does is it signals to the LLMs that we understand this topic. This is what we know about. We're good at it, and here's why, and here's who quoted us. And they're a high-ranking organization themselves, and so they're including us. Essentially, it carries a lot of weight, a bit like kind of site rank kind of. So now for SEO, so if you ever had an experience with that, sell page rank. So how you relate to other entities is important. So your competitors, your suppliers, your platforms that you sell on. So an easy way is like I've just done this one for Huel, but essentially just tell me about Huel. Go on to ChatGPT, tell me about Huel, and it gives an actual overview of kind of what it knows about Huel and the Huel products. And then I've asked a follow-up question, which is basically a very specific, what about these things for Huel.com? And I've asked it for all of those things that were on that previous page. And you can see it's got information, strong information on all of them for a brand like Huel. Now, Huel has a very strong brand. They've put a lot of effort into all of these things. And yeah, you can see that it's very clear. But if anything in here is wrong, then you know somewhere you need to optimize, or if anything's missing as well. But essentially, these are the areas that you need to kind of focus on and get rectified. Now, things like the Wikipedia pages, the Google knowledge panels, the Wikidata entries, and consistent name, address, phone data across all directories, that all builds entity strength. So the top 5 domains capture 38% of all AI citations, and the top 20 capture 66%. And that's research from HubSpot. So this isn't just big brands that are winning, it's brands with clear, consistent entity data across the web. So if ChatGPT doesn't know your brand exists, it can't recommend you. And building that entity recognition starts with structured, consistent data that across every platform where your brand appears. So so if ChatGPT responds to your brand name with "I don't have specific information about that company," then this should probably be your immediate Q2 priority as to optimize for this. So yeah, the core problem is this: basically, most D2C brands optimize for Google's traditional algorithm and haven't really updated for AI. So the technical requirements are different, and Google reads your meta title and backlink profile. AI reads your structured data, your content specificity, and your entity presence across the web. It's different inputs and a different strategy. So I'm going to give you the playbook now in priority order. Each focus area builds on the last, and you can't structure what AI can't access, and you can't earn citations without structured authoritative content. So if you need any help with any of this, then reach out to our amazing team at Fernie through our website to discuss. But yeah, moving on to the first thing. So the first focus area is access. So you need to be able to let AI read your site in the first place. So this is crawler access. So this is the foundation. If AI can't crawl your site, then nothing else matters. 47% of e-commerce sellers use AI to write product descriptions, yet many simultaneously block AI crawlers from reading their site. And this is often done by, to be honest, well-meaning developers who don't want AI crawling the site. But you need to make sure your site is open and accessible to those LLMs. Now, many sites will explicitly block like GPT bot or Google extended or Perplexity bot in that robots.txt. And yeah, you just need to make sure that it's visible. So even sites that allow, like Googlebot, may block Google extended. So they're different bots, meaning that Google search works, but AI overviews can't kind of use your content. So yeah, check your robots.txt right now. So open yourdomain.com/robots.txt and look at those rules to see if there's anything that could be, excuse me, could be affecting GPT bot, Google extended, Perplexity bot, or Claude bot in particular. And then, yeah, remove any blocks on AI crawlers from your product pages, your category pages, your blog content. It's fine if you don't want them to have access to certain areas. So, obviously, places like admin dashboards and checkout flows and accounts, if you don't want them placing orders on your behalf, it's completely okay to block those. Um, right now, everyone is focused on product discovery, which is kind of up here. And if they're going to use an AI, they want to use your on-site AI. So your optimized user experience for your particular products. Test crawler access from each of these tools just by doing a manual search. So it's a really quick fix. It's probably like 30 minutes. It's one file change, but it's the gatekeeping step that determines whether everything else works or not. Now, the second thing to focus on is the structure. So this is making your data machine readable. So this is the schemas we talked about. So make sure you've got all of these schemas in place. This is kind of the probably in order. So high priority. So product schema first. So AI can see your products, then see why they need your products, and then find out more about why they buy from your organization. So it's having those levels of hierarchy in your content so that AI knows kind of why the customer should buy from you. Adobe found that AI referrals convert 31% higher, but that's only when AI can accurately represent your product to the customer. And that's from the same Adobe Digital Insights report. So if your price is wrong in AI, it's in the AI results, it's because your schema is outdated and you lose that conversion or risk losing it. But yeah, make sure you've got your first tier, so your product schema. So this is everything about your products in terms of the name, description, brand, SKUs, price, currency, availability, images, reviews, offers, all of these things. And then move on to the next one, essentially. So the FAQs and review schemas, making sure that you're answering those specific questions that clients have. And you can use AI to help you generate these questions and check you have answers to all of them. So look at this page, like just put it into Claude or Gemini or such, and say, look at this page. And of all of these, for this product, what are all of the questions that a customer might want to ask? And then maybe ask what are the secondary questions. Once they've got the answer to the first, what's the secondary question? And make sure you've got all of that answered on the page clearly. Question in H1 with description text, short, easily cited text. And then that then creates a well-structured FAQ that you can then put into those schemas. And then when a customer goes and asks kind of, is this coffee machine worth it? Then that coffee machine gets recommended, or whatever your product is. Finally, you've got the organization and breadcrumbs. So this is things like about the company, so the name and logo, so that if they do ask follow-up questions or they have a certain requirement, so I want to buy a coffee machine from a B Corp organization, or I want to buy a coffee machine from a UK company, like all of those kind of things you can have inside your organization JSON data. So it's easily extracted and indexable by those LLMs. Cool. So the last thing is really the citability. So this is where you need to update your text. This is probably the more effort, essentially, because you're going to have to do a lot of copying and pasting and checking of content. I would probably use AI to do this in bulk rather than relying on doing it yourself. That means you need a good skill or script or a gem written to enable you to effectively write things in your tone of voice using your product data with your stats that are verified with your specifications, so they can get all things like the prices and dimensions and everything else that it might need to give those answers. And then yeah, those pages can then cite their own sources to get cited more by AI. You can include specific data points. You can have the name studies. You can have verifiable schemas. You can have our formulation reduces irritation by 47% according to an independent study. It's that level of being authoritative and trustworthy. So yeah, and then structured answers. So this is where essentially you need to think about their intent. So this one, for example, you've got the typical kind of shop our amazing collection of coffee machines, or you've got something very specific like the Brewmax Pro at this price is the best for kitchens with a limited counter space. This is the kind of query that's going to come in. They're going to come into the LLMs and they're going to go, look, I want to get a coffee machine, but I've only got this amount of space. Find me one to fit. And if you've got something like this that's easily indexable and searchable, that's where you'll rank. And then content freshness. So 79% of bots favor content that's published within the last 2 years. So this is really just going through updating key product pages with new data. Maybe do this quarterly, like new data, reviews, comparison notes. Yeah, so that a page like that's last updated in 2023 is going to be a structural disadvantage against the competitor that updated last month. So yeah, just make sure your content is fresh, basically. And then you've got topical authority. So this is that AI doesn't evaluate pages in isolation. It evaluates your site's authority on a topic. So a brand with 15 pages about coffee, so brewing guides, machine comparisons, bean origins, maintenance tips, like they'll be cited more than one with a single product page. So build content clusters around your core product categories. Yeah, and it's true. Like everyone wants to be recommended by ChatGPT, but it's a lot of effort to write the content that earns that recommendation. Now, but because it seems so challenging. It's early days. It's actually quite easy to get on that scale because essentially nobody's doing this. So if you have the ability to like look at your top 10 products and just write the content for those, like that's going to put you a supreme advantage over everyone who hasn't for those particular products. And then finally, yeah, you have your technical implementation. So this is your LLMs.txt, making sure you're mapping your site structure for AI. You want to include your brand description, your key product categories, your important pages, contact information. It'll take 30 minutes plus deployment and put you ahead of like 90% of domains who don't currently have one. So yeah, so quick wins. Check that robots.txt, LLMs.txt, the schema markup for your top pages, and yeah, rewrite your top 5 product descriptions with citable specifics, and then kind of go down the route of the kind of the full schema implementation across all pages. As a bigger investment, kind of moving into those. So FAQ schemas for your top 50 products, content clusters like 10 to 50 authority pages per category, your brand entity building offsite. So this is like your Wikipedia, your directories, your consistent name and address, and doing a professional geo audit with a prioritized roadmap. So yeah, I'll come back to our website geo audit. The link is there in the chat. Yeah, that's the easiest way to kind of get an assessment of kind of how you're doing. So a few questions to get you started on this process. So have a think about, have you checked your robots.txt? What did you find? And yeah, let us know in the comments how you're getting on. And how are you showing up in those rich results tests? Like, do you have the schemas in place? Are they complete? And then yeah, have a think, like, what is your biggest internal blocker for this? Is it budget? Is it capability or understanding? So if it's kind of getting approval, then that's where essentially one of these geo audits can take a role, because essentially you can see kind of how you're ranking. against kind of what's expected, and against competitors who will be optimizing for these things in the same time space you are, timescales that you are. And yeah, it's for anyone who is already appearing in ChatGPT results. What do you think made that actual difference? So yeah, let us know. So it's a Q&A. So we're on Shopify. Does this apply to us? Yes, you already have a head start because Shopify automatically generates the product schema for your products and feeds your catalog into the Shopify global catalog, which AI platforms can access, but the defaults are pretty basic. So you still need to add like FAQ schema and optimize product descriptions for citability and check that your robots.txt allows AI crawlers. Shopify's agentic storefront feature is rolling out now. So make sure, your merchant center data is complete to benefit from that. And how do we measure whether GEO is working? Well, the easiest way is the look at the AI referral sessions in GA, like in Google Analytics. If they're growing and time on page is good, then your GEO is working and they're getting through to the right place. But there's 3 signals you can track. So first, I'd set up a custom segment for the AI referral sources. So ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Copilot, and monitor those sections weekly. And then I would periodically search for your products in those platforms and screenshot the results to track changes, or use a tool like Profound to try profound.com or SEMrush's AI visibility audit. And then I'd monitor the AI overviews on Google for your target keywords using manual spot checks or by inferring the source for AI referred sessions on site. But yeah, basically the leading indicator is the AI referred sessions in GA. So if they're growing, your GEO is working. Is this replacing SEO? No. GEO is an extension of SEO. So the foundations overlap. Technical SEO, so that's things like site speed, mobile, like how your site is on mobile, crawlability, all that stuff still matters. Content quality still matters, and backlinks build authority. What GEO adds is a layer of optimization specifically for AI. So structured data depth, content citability, entity presence, and crawler access for those specific bots. So think of it as SEO plus AI specific work. Those LLMs still search using the search engines themselves. So you're not starting from zero, you're building on what you have. Looks like we need a big budget. So start with the quick wins. So update your robots.txt, create an LLMs.txt file, run that rich results text to see where you stand. Adding a basic product schema to your top 10 pages is typically a couple of days of dev time plus content entry. The expensive investments, so things like content clusters, full schema, they can wait until you've proved channel works. But even then, they're not enormous in comparison to building a new site. So track your AI referral traffic in GA for 30 days after making a few of those smaller changes. And if the numbers move, then you've got your business case for bigger investment. So yes, what I want you to take away from today. So 41% of customers are already using AI to find products. And when they do, the AI refers them to sites that have that structured data and citable content and open crawler access. Those visitors convert 31% higher than traditional organic traffic. And most DTC brands are invisible in these results, not because their products aren't good, but because the website doesn't speak AI's language. So 3 things in order: access, give it access through robots.txt, LLMs.txt. Structure, so make sure you've got your product data machine readable. So you need your schema markup, you need your products review and FAQ schemas in place. And then citability. So create content that's specific enough for AI to quote with numbers and sources and comparisons. The brands that started this in Q1 are already pulling ahead. So John Lewis, Gymshark, Tesco, the window is still open. The work is doable, and most of your competitors haven't started yet. So you can have that kind of first mover advantage. Now, first thing to do is apply for one of our GEO audits. We'll look at your AI visibility, crawler access, schema markup, content citability, and give you a personalized report showing you where the biggest opportunity is, and give you a prioritized plan. So I'll drop that in the chat there for anyone who missed it. There you go. And yeah, second, if you want even more advice on how to propel your AI visibility forward, then you can grab our AI commerce briefing, which is 1 email per week, with the AI commerce shifts UK DTC brands need to think about, with the stats to back up that information. And that's in there as well. Cool. So both links are in the chat. I appreciate you watching. And yeah, best of luck with your AI visibility optimization. And I will see you soon. Thanks.